Clients have been calling me from all over, trying to figure out what's going on in our Toronto GTA marketplace. Are prices dropping? What do we expect going forward? And if you're looking for those answers, then you're in luck, because we're going to talk and review about that right now. Hey guys, my name is Danilo. We've sold hundreds of homes right here in the GTA and surrounding marketplace. We have active listings right now and active buyers. We do have a pulse in the marketplace, and we're a little bit ahead of the curve. We know exactly what's going on before the newspapers and before you actually see it on TV. We think about education first for our clients and our audience, and so here we are giving you a little bit more information about what's going on today. All right, now let's get into it. Firstly, let's identify why this conversation is even coming out. Why is there this narrative of a market downturn? Why are we even talking about this? Why are clients reaching out to me about this? Well, I got a couple ideas, and I'm gonna throw these out there to see if you relate. One of them could be this: likely in your own neighborhood, you're seeing some for sale signs just like before. The biggest difference, though, is that instead of the for sale sign turning into a sold sign over maybe a few days or a week, you're noticing that sold sign is taking a little bit longer than usual to come up. Sometimes it's not coming up at all, and that's something that we're noticing too. Another thing might be that you're jumping onto apps like House Sigma or something similar to that, which I have my own comments about, but anyways, I know it's a very popular app, and maybe you have a short list of properties that you're kind of watching to see what the results are, and you're waiting for that update to come, and it's not coming as fast as it normally did, or as it did a couple months ago, or maybe you're not even seeing any information at all, maybe even more than 30 days. We're noticing that too. But the third thing, and probably the biggest culprit, is likely the news, right? You're seeing newspaper articles, you're seeing the news on TV that are shooting headlines such as this one over here, possibly this one over here, maybe this one over here, or even this one over here, etc., etc. Now, am I right about that? So like I mentioned before, we're typically ahead of the curve and what you see in the newspaper. So let me give you some insights of what I noticed over the last, let's say, month and a half from the seller and the buyer perspective. Now, on our listings, what we noticed is we had quite a significant drop in showing activity compared to the beginning of the year, where it was pretty crazy. We got a lot of people into the homes in a short period of time versus the last month and a half. It was quite a significant drop. So that's definitely one thing. The second thing was that on our offer night, we were actually seeing a lot less offers than we were seeing also at the beginning of the year. In the end, though, we still hit our price targets, and in many of those situations, we actually did still have multiple offers. It was just less people, and we were just a little bit more realistic about what our expectations were from the seller perspective. Now, on the buyer side, it was definitely a much better buying environment. I know it's been really tough over the last year or so for buyers because of all the competition that was out there. In this case, just like I mentioned before, as a buyer, I was noticing less competition amongst other buyers at any given home, and in some cases, we were negotiating one-on-one with the seller, which is definitely a welcome change. I mean, finally, right? It was a lot better for the buyer's perspective, and we're maybe even getting a little bit of better pricing as well. So that's what we were noticing from the seller and the buyer perspective. Okay, well, the big question is, did prices actually drop? Well, the short answer is yes, slightly, but let's put that into context. I'm going to put up a screenshot here to compare the month of February to the month of March, and this is going to show you a little bit more information from a different perspective. So what we're seeing here is there was actually a 2% drop in average price from February to March, but let's dig a little bit deeper here and see exactly what's going on. Now, did all housing types drop from February to March? No, they didn't. And what we could be seeing here is just a bit of a price divergence from condo pricing to low-rise pricing, which is like detached, semis, and townhomes. Now, the less talked about trend that we actually saw in our marketplace over the last little while is the rise in condo buying and also the rise in condo prices. Since the end of last year, we saw a definite spike in demand for condos, and that trend, that price trend, has continued even to this day. So we're still seeing increases on the condo side. So let's take a look at a comparison here, again from February to March. So let's take a look at that here. We're going to zoom in to the last column here of the average total price. And what you see here is condos actually went up 1% from February to March. However, detached homes dropped 5.5%. This really does show, this chart shows that detached and townhomes were really the driver of that month-to-month drop. And this is just news that the actual news outlets are not really digging deep enough into. The detail probably isn't enough to sell papers or entice clicks. But this is why we're here, and I'm letting you guys know exactly what's up. Okay. Now, what does this mean? This data could actually show that the higher price homes, maybe over 2 million, 3 million, there might have been less sales in that price bracket. Or in general, it could just mean that low-rise homes are trending at a lower price point than they were in the highs of February. Now, both of these could be true. Now, although both of these things could be true, you need to remember that this is not enough to constitute an actual trend. Real estate does move pretty slowly, and we're going to have to see over the next few months if this type of trend does continue. I'm talking about the pricing here, or if it does not. We're going to have to see. Now, to put things in a different perspective, I'm going to put up this chart here, this graph actually, and I really do love this graph because it really helps the visual learners, including myself, and hopefully helps you guys as well. Now, let's take a look at 2018 because this is as far as the graph goes, and it kind of shows you the typical year in real estate here in the GTA. So we see here that there's typically a little bit of a spike in prices during springtime. Then it kind of drops a bit over the summertime as people go out for vacation. People get back to work after Labor Day. In the fall, we see a little bit of a spike again. And then in the wintertime, Christmas, New Year's, etc., we see a little bit of a drop. Now, this is a typical year here in the GTA. However, sometimes we do see after New Year's, it's not uncommon to see a bit of a spike. And you notice that here, you notice that over here, and again, you notice that over here in 2022. Yes, we're talking 2022. Now, this little jump in 2022 is a little steeper than normal. And this is when we were yelling from the hills, guys. Everyone who was thinking about selling, I'm like, this is the time to sell. Prices have definitely increased after the new year, and this is a gift that's just been placed on your lap. And if you want to sell, this is the time you're going to capture the best pricing. And we were kind of right on that. If you take a look at this little chart, you see that this little steep increase here was pretty special. Okay. So yes, prices did go up pretty steeply at the beginning of this year. In my opinion, in some cases, it was pretty ridiculous. I mean, I would say outside of the Toronto area, it was a little bit more drastic than other areas. I'm talking about Peel region, Durham region for sure. Even out in Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, we saw some pretty steep pricing, specifically for detached homes, where, in my opinion, again, it was pretty ridiculous. I know that I wasn't advising any of my buyers to put up some of those numbers that I was seeing. And, some of these buyers might be regretting those numbers that they put up during that time. But it is what it is. I mean, this is our history now. And I just want to put this chart back up. I know that we saw it earlier before, but it just kind of shows that it is normal to have ups and downs throughout the year in our real estate market. I mean, that's nothing uncommon. It's very normal. And I just wanted to make a point that, where we are today, if you see the trajectory of this chart, I mean, from 2018 up until now, we've had kind of like a gradual increase. And where we are today is really not too far off where we should be. I don't know. I mean, you look at the chart yourself and you tell me what you think. And like I said before, it takes some time for real estate trends to form. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening in the April numbers, April, May, June, for example. I mean, we could see that prices begin to kind of stabilize and kind of stay where they are, more or less right now. We could see them spike up because of possibly some people are trying to get better interest rates, or it could crash down to the abyss, which I think is kind of unlikely. But I mean, all these things are possible. We don't have a crystal ball, and we don't really know exactly what's going to happen in our marketplace. We're kind of have to just wait and see as time goes on. Now, many people are pointing and asking about interest rates because it is another heavily talked about subject. We do know that the Bank of Canada has increased their benchmark rate. It was as low as 25 basis points, 0.25, and they've over two rate decisions have increased up to 1 point or 1%. And people are predicting that this will increase and double up even up to 2 points or 2% towards the end of the year. This is possible, but what you need to understand is that the banks have already kind of understood and factored in the fact that this is going to happen. They anticipated it, and so rates have been increasing since last year. And even if we're at a 3% or just under fixed rate at the moment, I would still say that that's pretty low historically, and variable rates even lower than that still. So there is still some good rates available in the marketplace even today. So I mean, as a buyer, if it is a better buying environment, then I would say that it's a good time to maybe check for an approval and see where your guys are at, and maybe try to lock something in now and try to get into the market. Having said that, we still do have a stress test that we need to factor in, and lenders are still qualifying you at a much higher rate than you're actually getting, and this is to mitigate any sort of spike in interest rates so that you don't bite off too much more than you can chew. So I mean, that is there to safeguard you as a consumer for sure. Now, one thing that you need to remember is that interest rates could impact buyer behavior. If we do see increases in the interest rate, people could be kind of sitting back and waiting to see how that impacts real estate. Or what I've seen in the past as well, that I've seen a pretty steep run up because people are trying to capture better mortgage rates before they continue to go up, and that could also happen too. So we really don't know which way that will impact our buying behavior, whether it's going to increase demand or decrease it. Again, we're going to have to kind of just see that one. Another thing that we need to remember is that travel is opening up around the world, including here in Canada. It is possible even that unvaccinated people are going to be able to travel in and out of the country. And just take a look at this article right here. Let's not forget that Canada has already committed to bringing in 1.3 million immigrants into the country by 2024. And it's estimated that almost 400,000 of those people are going to come into the GTA. I mean, that's half of Mississauga's population. That's a good chunk of people. And I don't know about you, but do you think that these 400,000 people are going to be all renters? I can almost guarantee you guys that in a short period of time, a lot of these people are also going to be buyers, and they're going to try to settle in the GTA like many other people. I've personally had many clients that have been in the country for a short period of time. They've worked hard to get their permanent residence or their citizenship, and they're already buying properties here in the GTA. So this is very possible, and it could spike demand over time. This is why one of the other reasons why I think picking up property today could be beneficial over the long term. So guys, the final message that I'm going to leave with you guys is that if you're a buyer in the marketplace today, I think that if we do have a lull in the marketplace right now where you're able to negotiate one-on-one with a seller, I mean, this is really a good time to see if you can lock in a mortgage rate before things potentially increase, and also you have a better environment to kind of negotiate a good deal or a good price with a seller. I mean, I think it's a good time to get in. And remember, real estate is long term, so don't forget that. Most of the time you are going to be living in this home for 3 to 5 years or more, and I don't think that you'll lose here in the GTA if that's the case. When it comes to the sellers, guys, we're technically still in a seller's market. I mean, based on March's numbers, we know that we're still in a seller's market with 1 month of inventory, less than 1 month of inventory actually, which technically means we're in a seller's market. I think the biggest difference now is that you really have to put time and effort and really try to differentiate your property from the competition. This is something that we've always done, whether we're in a hot seller's market or not. Staging, proper marketing, photos, a detailed video, all of these things really make a difference and separate you from the competition. And doing those things are gonna result in you actually selling your property instead of sitting on the market. So those things are still possible. It's really possible still to get a really good price. Maybe not exactly what you might have gotten at the end of January, beginning of February, for example, but prices will still be higher than the end of last year. They're still higher than fall of 2021, for example. And so in that case, you're still getting a really great price. And maybe you're gonna now go into a buying environment where you're gonna fare where it's gonna be a lot easier for you, and you're gonna be able to get a property that you actually want to get for the right price. So don't forget that, guys, and that's something that I think you should really be looking forward to. And that's my big message for you guys today. Now, there's always something to talk about when it comes to the GTA marketplace, and we're going to be tracking this stuff in 2022 and beyond. We made a goal to create content related to this type of information. If you really like this video, then I'm going to suggest that you subscribe to us today. Make sure that you don't miss any future content related to this. And also check out some of our listing videos here. They're detailed. They're not the cookie cutter stuff that you see from most agents. And 100% it's helped us sell properties here in 2022. And I know that it's going to help us into the future. Now we're here. My name is Danilo from King Realty. We can help buyers and sellers in any market, whether it's seller or buyer or a stable market. We're here. We've been through it all. And if you have any questions for us, then you can definitely hit us up in the comments below. There's also a link below if you want to have a chat with us. And there's some contact info on the screen here if you ever want to reach out. Again, you have a great day, guys. And thank you so much for watching the video. We'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.